someone was reversing into the parking spot directly next to me. There are hundreds of spaces. It is very early in the morning. I'm in a part that is far away from everything, and they parked right next to me. He was looking at me like from the side the whole time. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the two moments that I've had recently that a lot of like Vanlife-y, nomad-y, whatever kind of people often don't put out there. And this is nothing against them. It's not, a complaint fest or anything like that. But, there's a lot of content out there that is very polished and sanitized, and that's great. I love that, and it's enjoyable to watch. However, this is not what I'm wanting to do. The whole point of this channel is actually scrappy. It's scrappy and raw and very unpolished and kind of vloggy and rambly, because that is what is most of real life, right? And I think two kind of moments happened recently that kind of reflect that. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about that in a kind of an unpolished kind of way. This morning had a very weird experience. I was in one of my usual spots. Everything was fine. A little bit windy last night, but everything was fine, quiet, calm, as it usually is. Anyway, this morning, I hear someone moving around, and where I park, there is like a little grassy area. It's not a park. It's actually part of the residences that you're looking onto. It's hard to explain. But there's a little grassy area, and sometimes people do like workouts there from the residences. But the actual part of the parking lot that I'm in there is hundreds of parking spaces, and I'm in the very, very corner where there's just no reason for anyone to park other than like overnight parking. So sometimes you see like a semi truck. Anyway, woke up this morning. That's my inverter. See how noisy that is? Anyway, so woke up this morning to hearing some voices outside, and I was like, oh, people are working out. It means that I should probably make my way away from here and carry on with my day. Got up, got into the driver's seat, and as I was getting into the driver's seat, someone was reversing into the parking spot directly next to me. Bear in mind, there are hundreds of spaces. It is very early in the morning. I'm in a part that is far away from everything apart from residential spot that people don't park there to go to this residential grassy area, and they parked right next to me. And as he reversed in and came into my view, he was looking at me like from the side the whole time, and he gave me this little nod. So I just said to him, and I was like, gave him the nod back. And then once he parked up, it was so weird just in hindsight. He clicked his like driver's chair recliner and then went all the way back like he was just about to go to sleep. You know what I mean? Like you're just resting and going, okay, I'm just going to close my eyes. And the car was like a fairly modern car and stuff. Not that that has anything to do with it. Anyway, so he reclined back, but he was still looking at me. So he just kind of like was like this and then just went back kind of looking at me. And I was like, what the fucking hell is this guy doing? Anyway, so I get my navigation out, put it on there. By the time I look back round, he's got his light on, and he has his phone like this pointed at me, and he's like reclining in now his back seat, looking at me, and with his phone like this, like he's filming me. I couldn't see, it doesn't look like he was like looking at his phone. It was just at like the phone was at an angle. If he's like looking at me, his phone was like at an angle like that. It was so bizarre. So I was like, I don't know what this guy's doing. I don't know whether he is like intrigued by what I'm doing, or if he was just on his phone in the morning and it was just at a weird angle, or I have no idea. It was so weird. But fortunately, I was already in the driver's seat, and I just backed out and went on with my day. But it was very weird, and I'm glad that I also didn't see the people that were talking outside the truck, which is weird. There was no other cars around or anything. It was just strange. It was really strange. On the other hand, it probably looks strange to other people to have a truck just in an empty parking lot right in the corner. Maybe he was one of the residents, and he was just like, I'm going to check on what this guy's doing. Maybe that's what it is. It was quite strange, though. Quite strange. Yeah. As part of this whole situation, I'm learning how differently people respond to what you're doing. There was another incident that I had with, I'm not sure if I spoke about this, but in my local gym, in the gym that I go to, I usually go first thing in the morning where it's absolutely dead, like 5 a.m. I pulled up and this guy was on a electric scooter, and as I parked up, he was driving past on his scooter and he was staring at me. And then he drove the scooter to a car, put his scooter in the back of the car, pulled out his gym stuff and went into the gym. Anyway, I got in at the same time as him, and he started talking to me and he was like, "Hey man, is that your box truck?" And I was like, "Why?" And he goes, "Is that your box truck?" And I was like, "No, I heard what you said. I'm just asking, why are you asking?" And he was like, "Oh, it's just like, you've got a load of solar panels on the roof." And I was like, I just like panicked. I didn't really know what to say because I was like half asleep. So I was just like, oh my God, someone's interrogating me. I don't know what to say, because I don't want to say to someone, I don't want to be explicit about what I'm doing and all that sort of stuff. So I was like, yeah. And he was like, how much do they cost you? And I was like, are you thinking of getting some? And he was like, yeah, like they're expensive. And I was like, well, the ones that I got, I think you can get like a good deal if you go on Facebook Marketplace. So I was like trying to avoid the question. And he was like, oh, it's so cool, man. I think what you're doing is so cool. And I was like, oh, how do I respond? I don't want to lie, but I also don't want to be telling him, giving any details or anything. And he goes, yeah, I used to own, I bought 3 school buses. And I repaired them and sold them. And each one that I sold for the price that I bought the 3 each. And I was like, cool, you like tripled your money then. That's awesome. And he was like, yeah. He was like, but it was just before everyone was buying these school buses. I think they call them schoolies. And, started turning them into homes. So, I was thinking of doing what you're doing and, getting myself a box truck. And I was like, oh, shit. I was still like, there was a big part of me that's don't say anything. But also it was just like, this guy obviously knows, what people are doing and stuff like that. So I was like, cool, man. I was like, yeah, the solar panels were useful for my job. And I was trying to imply it's like my work vehicle. I don't know. I just got myself all in a tizzy rather than just being like, I don't want to talk about it. So it's just, ultimately it's quite interesting, like people's reactions when they are like a bit aware. Because before this, like if someone had solar panels on the roof, A, I probably wouldn't notice 99% of the cases. And B, if I did, I would just, it wouldn't register as to why they would be there. It would just be like, okay, this is for the truck. It's for, maybe it's an electric vehicle. I don't know. It's interesting just people's responses to, I think, knowing and being aware of, people converting vehicles and all that sort of stuff. So it makes me a little bit more at ease because it's, oh, cool, people like understand, but it also makes me a little bit more alert as to, I don't want to go around telling people or anything like that. And I also want to really quadruple my security and making sure that like I am being secure with what I'm doing, especially in the city, because, it's a city. And I have now a mini split on the back of my truck, so it makes it more obvious or a little bit more suspect. and puts a bit of a target on me. So yeah, I'm definitely like, my regular places that I'm going to, I'm widening them a little bit in order to not show up every day at the same place. Like that gym, I'm actually going to go to like different gyms and start changing things up, not having a regular routine and stuff like that, just to be safe and just to be a bit more aware of things. That's all. I believe in people overall. I have faith in people's good, you know, but I'm also aware that, you know, people like to take opportunities where they can, and I don't want to lose my shit, basically. So yeah, 2 instances that have been eye-opening a little bit, and just giving me little signals to make sure that I'm just being alert and secure in doing what I'm doing. That's all. So it's definitely bumped up the pass-through door. It's bumped that up the list quite a few spots now. So I want to make sure that this door is installed and locked, and that is prioritized sooner rather than later. Yeah, so just thought I'd drop in those stories because, you know, a lot of Vanlife YouTube content is very like made for Instagram. Sorry, my inverter is... That's another thing that I want to figure out as well, is getting the noise reduced on this. A lot of Vanlife stuff is romantic Instagram, you know, oh, we did this van conversion in our spare time and blah, 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 you know, and they have 100 grand set aside. They have 3 or 4 people helping them, or they pay a company, which is great, like wonderful. I love that, you know, but I think that there's a lot of people that are not doing that, are not having these Instagram worthy moments, and, you know, are just people living their lives, not, you know, living out some sort of romantic retirement or traveling thing. That's not what I do. It's not what I want to do. I'm just a regular guy who's living, working, and learning how to build as I go with a, you know, modest to low budget. And I think that a lot of people don't put that out there. There's just so many like Instagram moments, and, you know, going to these scenic places in Arizona and waterfalls and all this sort of stuff, and they don't have to work. So yeah, the one thing that I'm kind of like wanting to put out there is I'm just a regular guy who works really hard and has no fucking clue about any of this stuff, learning as I go, and it's a lot more raw, I guess, compared to some of the more polished YouTube, Instagram, Vanlife-y kind of things. So that is what I'm bringing to the table, if you wanted to know. Anyway, I thought that was a couple of interesting stories and my experience and what I'm taking from it. Yeah, that's it for now. Clocking out.